Hello and welcome back. So at this point, let me introduce you a new tool, Meshmixer. It's a tool used to manipulate STL files, OBJ files. Fantastic tool. I really love it. So in the video description, you have the link where you can download it. Also here you can find the documentation. It's a fantastic tool, okay? So it is a tool to manipulate STL. If you have access to your geometry in onshape or whatever CAD tool you use or solid modeling tool you use, you are done. It's fantastic, but it may happen that you get one of these nasty STL that I hate this format and you need to manipulate it. So let's use this tool. Let me tell you that this tool runs only in Windows. It's the only drawback. If you want something equivalent, you have Blender. Okay, so probably will prepare some videos with Blender to show you the same operations, but Blender is overly complicated. I love it and I hate it at the same time. So you can do pretty much the things that I'm going to show you. You can do it with Blender. Blender runs in Mac, Linux, and Windows, so it's agnostic from that point of view. No, from the point of view of the operating system, here you are linked to Windows. In any case, let me show you. So we have the geometry working in the cylinder case. So let's take the geometry with one single face. So see that one single face, and we're talking about the deal that you need to split it into different phases you want to assign, you know, to have more control or assign boundary conditions here and there. So how do we do that? Okay. So there are many ways you can manipulate the STL. Probably that is the difficult way. Let's use here Meshmixer to do this. So here I have that geometry we saw, and here we have. So this is Meshmixer, and I need to introduce a little bit the graphical user interface. You can go to the help to see what you have, but the first thing is that you press spacebar, and here you have this quick window, so you can choose different cameras. I use free, and then here to visualize normals and the mesh. Okay, so this is, you can use my same options. Also here preferences, already set up the preferences, but this tool is used to do also 3D printing, so you have printers here. So I modify a little bit, that set some sense. Okay, so the other thing in view, show object browser. So here you see the objects that you can load multiple geometry, so high on high. Okay, so and then the mouse, well, this is right click, middle button, your pen, and then the wheel. Okay, and then selection is left button. So we have the geometry here. Also in help, very important, you have many shortcuts. So I recommend you to read the shortcuts here. Okay, keyboard. So what I was setting there. So be careful about this shortcut. So have that in mind. So for instance, a shortcut would be W, which would be wireframe, and you can see your geometry. So basically this is STL. And what we want to do is to separate this in different phases. So it will be like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So how can we do that? So I will show you the basic command. So you see here that you have many options, and let's go to edit. And in edit, you have generate phase groups. So here is called phase groups, regions, name selection. Okay, it's up to you. And see that each different color represents to a different phase group, and you are done. We have the phase group, and you have different criteria: normal angle and edge angle, similar to ParaView, OpenFOAM. Okay, so you can play with this, increase or reduce. So see that you reduce to 0, you select every triangle. You increase it, you have different selections. And then you have another selection by normal angle. This is a nice one. Sometimes it can help you. In this case, doesn't make a difference, but in any case, you have it there. You can play with the angle, and then you have size threshold that you can use it to group faces like this. Okay, so it's up to you. Let me use this one, and it is okay. Set, and at this point, this geometry has been separated. It is okay, and we can export it in here to be used. So when you export this mesh and you want to keep this information, the faces, you need to save it in OBJ format. You have different formats, but the OBJ, okay, it will keep all this information. You give it a name, I will call it fill. And here we have the OBJ that you can use in OpenFOAM in snappyHexMesh with no problem. So this is something equivalent to the STL, but much better. And if I open this one, it is an ASCII format, very similar. You will have vertex coordinates, normals, and connectivity, and a lot of information. But let me look here for a particular G. So when you see here, G means group. So you're telling, create a group with this name. So this is the automatic name that uh, Meshmixer will use. And this is the face connectivity. Okay. So you keep reading. So you will see that you will have another face and so on. So you will have different selections there. So basically what you can do is just, oops, yeah. You can change this name. So you can say like side 1, side 2, and so on. And that will be the name that you can use, in snappyHexMesh for the region. The hashtag here means comment. So this is commented. So this is it. Okay, so I'm not going into details about this OBJ format. Just look for the G keyword, that is important one, and then here you change the name. But you can look in the internet to get these standards. It is a standard. So that being said, we're done. So you can take this geometry, put it in snappyHexMesh, and you have your groups, and it will work. So this is how I do it, okay, this way. Something similar can be done in Blender. So in the video description, you have the link to Meshmixer, Blender, and so on. Can be done in Blender, or Blender is much difficult to use. Okay, so let me just show you now a few other options. So I'm happy with this. But let's say that, let me select everything. So to select everything, Control A, Control Alt. And when you do selection, so the most important thing here is selection. So you have many options here, tools. Selections, how you select faces, and then you can do some manipulation, group, faces, move, erase, and so on. Okay, so you select with the left mouse button, and let's do something. Control A, select everything, and look at that, you have different actions here. So modify, clear face group. So now I erase my face group, and let's do it, but now manually. Okay, previously I used the option edit, clear, automatically will do, but let's do this manually. So select, if I double click, it will select everything. Okay, so now I need to do things manually. So basically select, you have a brush, see the brush here, different brushes, and it's up to you. Now you can change the size and so on. So basically a little bit manual work. So we have seen also in ParaView you can do selections. Here is much easier, as you can see. And there are a few tricks now that you can do that selection. You can just limit by angle and so on. Well, let's do this manual selection just to show you. There are select. So super easy. So I have been able to manipulate very complicated geometry. I have to say now, it's geometries that I download, from the internet, and I don't have the CAD. If I have the CAD, I don't need to do this. So now that you do this, look at that, you have different options. I would like to go to modify, create face group, and there you go. You have a face group. So now that you have this face group, the face group, and this is very important tip, for manipulating STLs or BJ, maybe will work in Snappy, I don't know, but it's important. So now if I go here, I will press the key S, select, or you can click there. If I double click, see that now everything is limited. It's not like in the previous case that everything was great and then it was selecting everything. Now it will find that, okay, now you have a boundary, just select that face. And much easier, you can go here, create face group, and there you go. Double click S, create face group, and this is equivalent to the previous step. Okay, So have that in mind. Selection, extremely important. So play around with that, get comfortable with selection, and let me show you. So you can go and you can paint on the surface, or escape to deselect S, or you can do lasso selection. So you have it there, now lasso, but you can also, let me show you, S, and then click outside the geometry, create a polygon, close it, and you have that lasso selection, escape to deselect, or you have the laser selection, align, and then that line will just select to the left or right side or top button. Okay, so you have those selections. Super is the most powerful, okay, function that you have here in Meshmixer, and also in Blender selecting is extremely important. So that being said, what else we can do with this? Okay, so this is fine, and what I was saying that it is extremely recommended when you are manipulating STL in Meshmixer, Blender, or some other solid modeling tools to create face groups. So for instance, here you can do boolean operations. You can merge this with another solid, which is really difficult. When you have faces, that will improve the operation. Similarly, we can say that in a snappyHexMesh, when you do this operation, kind of you are forcing the edge features. Okay, besides that, you're going to run surface features and so on. You're forcing that. So you may get better results. I'm not telling you that it is true, it is going to work, but for me, it's a standard practices, because I know that when you manipulate geometries, it gives you better results. I'm not telling you that it will be the same with the Snappy, but it doesn't cost you much. So you can do it. I recommend you to do it. Okay, if you want to split the faces, you don't care about that. So now that we have this, let me show you also in when you do selection, let me select everything. You have different operations here, edit, you have conversion, deform, transformations, and so on. So you have the help, you can find more information. Let me go to the basics. So for instance, and let me show you here one. So let me select this face. You go here and you can, for instance, I can go here and I can say discard, which is delete, and see that you delete the face. Undo, okay, you have control set, you can undo, you can go erase and fill, and we'll do an infilling, and then you have different techniques to fill that. Okay, so it's up to you to select a method and so on. So you can play around, but I recommend you to go for the help. Another nice tool that you have, let me select here. So when you see this color, means that all normals are oriented. When you see colors are oriented, are consistent. But let me do a selection of this face. Look at that, you have flip normals, and see that you have this funky color there. This is telling you that normals are oriented in the opposite way. Okay, so here also you can check your normals. So as you see this one, again, do a selection, and you have clearly there that color, and flick normals, and that is okay. Let me do a selection for everything. I want to show you one here, remesh. It will do what it says, a remesh using a triangulation. So let me click here, and just to mention, you have first, look at that, you have a triangulation, completely different from what we had previously. From the point of view of a snappyHexMesh, it's not going to change anything, believe me. But in any case, you can do the benchmarking, and some people say that yeah, it will change. It's not going to change anything. What is going to give you some difference is that normals. If you have normals oriented in different ways, that might give you some inconsistent results. And if you have gaps, okay, you have small gaps, and let's say that the mesh is leaking inside the body or outside the body, so that can give you some differences in consistent results. Now remember that many computations, now that you're doing regions, surface features, you look at normals, spaces, and so on. So that is going to make the difference, but the meshing is not going to do a big difference. But if you think that for you this is important, you have that option. Just to mention, very important, in my case here, I'm already playing with this one, and I'm doing geometry, so I have some different values, but I recommend you to have default values. Always select default values. Why? Because if you use, in my case, you have a different geometry and you use different values, this operation, this is using the GPU. Okay, so you have a good GPU, it would be super fast. If you don't have a good GPU, it will be really slow. But for instance, if you go and you increase this one, this will be, for the next time when you open the next geometry, will be your default value. Okay, so you can get an idea that if you have something small and increase the density 50%, it will be super large. Okay, so always be careful with this and always get before opening, and if you know that your geometry is complicated or whatever, get here default values, otherwise this is going to be super slow. So yeah, so for instance, so here you can see different options. So let me go to target edge length. So we created a geometry, we have an idea of the edge size. So you have this light bar here, so see that you can move it and you have something different, or you can click there, change the size, and let me put 0.5, and look at that, we get this one. The edges are not very nice, but look at that, you have many options. So let me use this one, preserve sharp edges, and there you go. And then also you can change the angle, so let's put 10, and that's it. So I invite you to play with this again, please. But so just to stress, I will accept this, but if I do, for instance, clear selection, I select it again, and if I come back here, look at that, I'm going to have the same parameters. Okay, so if you are moving different geometries, it might be something super slow. So be careful about that. But this is super nice. Okay, so you can export it, same technique, okay, same trick. So we have all the faces, go export. You can go seal2, save it as OBJ, and you will have all the faces. And just to demonstrate, so some people don't believe. And let me go here. Let me open ParaView and let's open the geometry. But as you see, it's super easy to use. Selection is very powerful, just master selection. So go here, Meshmixer and cylinder. So let me select OBJ. So everything all fast. I don't see the OBJ. Why it doesn't? Okay, bam, 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 bam. Let me go here. Select. Okay, it was in the wrong folder. So it's top one, so seal one. So this is the original one. So here I already saved the groups. Okay, so see different colors groups, and this is your surface mesh. There you go. Okay, and let me open the other one that we retriangulate. So we have here, let me like this one. We have the groups, and then the axis, your triangulation. Perfect geometry, so you can check normal, so filters, and here is alphabetical. You have normal glyph. Reduce this one, probably put 1, then put 0.1, just to reduce, and there you go, all normals, consistent, perfect mesh. Okay, some people probably don't like, no, you see, let me go here, say, oh, look at the colors, it's not nice, or this shading is strange there. So there is no problem at all with that. That is how things are visualized. But if you want to see something uniform, go into filters. You have surface normals, I think. Surface, no, normal, extract surface, I think. No, 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 no. Okay, let me go. I forgot the filters, normals, extract. Okay, let me search. Generate surface normal. This is the one. And see that now this one, you get a better shading. Nothing changes, it's a matter of visualization, okay? And just to show you, will be something equivalent. I press spacebar. Okay, here, and let me go. See that I'm visualizing normals here. So here basically normals like vertex and cell centers. Vertices, cell centers, vertices, cell centers. But basically what we have here when I save the file, it is saved with the normals at the vertices. Generate surface normals at the cell centers. And nicer. Are there differences when you move to snappyHexMesh? I have done the test. No, there are no differences, but it's up to you to test. I prefer to use the vertices, okay? I have more information, but nothing changed, okay? Exactly the same. So look at that, you have the same information. Normals are the same. Okay, so this is it. Okay, play around there. And the other one that now that you have this, you have many, many tools. For instance, you have the sculpting tool. So here, look at that. You can do many operations. So you can do, for instance, drag, and you select there, and you can do some drag. And this is now you have here, you are manipulating the geometry, and you can do crazy stuff. Let me add here, for instance, legs. Okay. And well, I don't have artistic flair. I'm trying to do something, but okay, you practice a lot and you can do very nice geometries here. Undo, okay. Stuff like remeshing also. You can add more cells. For those who think that adding more triangles it will improve, you can smooth. So let me see here, for instance, smooth here, edges, and well, a lot of stuff. For instance, also you have Meshmixer, you have primitive here, and let me add here ears, for instance. Let me put an ear there. And this is the cool part. Now you add that geometry, and here we're doing a boolean operation actually. And look at that, it is merging this geometry with the new one. You can move it, and look at that, super nice. Then click here, you change also, and there you like it, and you're at the ear there, and you have a merging of that triangulation. Okay, so let me show you, for instance, primitive. Let me add an sphere. Okay, so let me put it here. A little bit also, you can just the handles there and click there, you move it and put it there. Let me do this. So I put it there, and look at that. Now you have a second object. Okay, and happy. Oops, let me. That's sad. You're happy, you select this and select this. And then when you do the selection, you have different actions, and here you have different, operations. So combine, it will merge, but it's not going to do the boolean. Okay, so you're going to have this data structure that is not perfect matching. So if you use this into OpenFOAM, it is going to work with the Snappy, but you don't have this feature edge. You need to do a merging, a boolean. So let me do the boolean and see that there you go. If you like it, set, and very nice boolean. So a little bit about this, just to mention that this is more complex that you see it here. You have many operations also. You need to do it with a nice surface triangulation. If you use the starting mesh, okay, let me go here. This mesh is not going to work very well because you have this very elongated triangle, so it cannot do it cannot merge triangles. So you need to do this remesh if you don't have a nice mesh. So this is for the purposes of manipulating the solid model. But what I was saying, when you have face groups and a better surface mesh, doing this kind of operations, manipulating, is much easier, more efficient. From the point of view as a snappy, nothing changed. Put it there, and there you go. And again, you can go and do selections, double click there, create face groups, and so on. So this is the basic Meshmixer. So I'm saying I use it a lot to manipulate geometry. So the cylinder, I did it like this. And next tutorials, when we have different faces, I always, or 90% of the time, I do it here. Sometimes when I know very well the geometry, or I can get my way around with onshape or the cut tool, I do it there. But if I want to keep all the connectivity and so on and check normals, I do it in Meshmixer, super easy. You can do it as well with Blender. Okay, Blender works very well. but it's super complicated to use. Probably we'll prepare a video on that. So yeah, here you go. Visit, okay, just click in every auction. You have a lot of stuff here, okay? Like I say, you have a lot of bad medicine inside this, or you have this inspector, so you have gaps, holes, and so on. Actually, let me do a selection. Let me select this. I press D. Okay, no, the instruction X. Delete. And now, for instance, see that blue line there? I think there is a blue line. Yeah, that is the boundary. Double click, it will select only the boundary. And for instance, edit and can do fill. And look at that, it's filling, following the curvature. Okay, or you can go here, analysis, inspector. It will tell you, okay, you have a hole somewhere. So blue means a hole and will close it automatically. Maybe it's not following with the curvature, but then you have sculpting tool and you can do some smoothing, and then we'll try to follow the other curvature. Or you use this option now, select, you go there, and you have different techniques. Flat minimal, so see that it's not following very well, and then flat remesh, or probably smooth, and you can play there. So you have holes, you close it, and fantastic. Okay, so now look at that. If you are going to use this geometry, you want to create a hole, just selection, create face grid, and now this will be another face grid where you can assign boundary conditions. Okay, I think this is a basic no tutorial. I get you starting, but play around. Okay, just get simple geometries and get familiar. Selection. And also play with the remeshing, okay? If you want to, if you think that remeshing can help you on okay, and if you want to do boolean operations and so on, play with remeshing, but be careful that remeshing, the default options here, okay, always get defaults, otherwise if you press here I said, it can be super slow or it will crash. Okay, thank you for your attention. See you next time. Bye.